Every interaction with a woman carries subtle tests. Most men fail to notice them, dismissing them as coincidence, misunderstanding, or mere conversation. Yet, these tests are rarely random. They are deliberate, often unconscious, and rooted in deep psychological mechanisms designed to reveal a man's confidence, control, and value. Women do not test you out of malice. They test you to gauge whether you possess the qualities they unconsciously seek: strength, composure, self-mastery, and unshakable confidence. Those who pass these tests gain influence, attention, and sometimes even obsession. Those who fail reveal weakness instantly, often without ever realizing it. Understanding these tests requires seeing beyond the surface of human interaction. Every word she says, every gesture she makes, and every subtle contradiction in her behavior can be a measurement of your psychological structure. A test might be disguised as a joke, a request, a challenge, or even an insult. The most dangerous ones are the invisible ones, the questions she does not ask but imply, the pauses that carry meaning, the tone that signals hidden evaluation. These are not games in the childish sense. They are the natural mechanisms of attraction and selection, sharpened over millennia of human behavior. The first sign she is testing you is subtle probes into your confidence. This can appear as casual teasing, offhand sarcasm, or veiled criticism. A woman might joke about your choices, your appearance, or your actions, not to belittle you, but to observe your reaction. The key is calm composure. Reacting defensively signals insecurity, while responding with humor, poise, or an unexpected twist of confidence signals mastery. The man who passes this test is not reactive. He is unshakable. His value is measured not by agreement or compliance, but by the unbending stability of his presence. The second sign is the challenge to your boundaries. Women often test whether a man can maintain his limits without fear, anger, or unnecessary compromise. This may manifest as requests that are slightly inconvenient, subtle pressure for attention, or even attempts to provoke jealousy. The test is simple. Will you bend under pressure, or will you assert your rules calmly and consistently? Every concession made too quickly diminishes perceived value. Every boundary upheld increases respect and fascination. Passing this test is less about confrontation and more about disciplined control of your own energy and attention. The third sign is testing your reactions to uncertainty. She may introduce ambiguity, tell a partial story, or create situations that require decision-making. Her aim is to observe whether you panic, overcompensate, or react with confidence. A man who can navigate ambiguity without losing composure passes the test effortlessly. Women instinctively detect men who are secure in their own judgment, even when external circumstances are unclear. The more calm and decisive you remain in the face of subtle chaos, the stronger her attraction grows. The fourth sign is provocation, disguised as intimacy. This occurs when she shares personal details or vulnerabilities, but in a way that subtly invites judgment or overreaction. She is not asking for analysis. She is testing whether you can handle emotional exposure without losing control. Responding with exaggerated empathy, panic, or overinvestment fails the test. Passing requires acknowledgement, measured curiosity, and the ability to maintain an emotional equilibrium. Women are drawn to men who can hold space without being pulled into turbulence. The fifth sign is attention manipulation. She may alternate between giving attention and withdrawing it, observing whether your behavior shifts to chase or whether you maintain your composure. This is a classic psychological probe. Those who panic, over-message, or attempt to reclaim attention reveal neediness. Those who remain indifferent or who strategically respond without overcommitment signal control and emotional sovereignty. The ability to treat attention as a resource, given and withheld on your terms, is a hallmark of passing this test. Recognizing these patterns is just the beginning. Each test is not a single event, but part of a larger framework that measures your psychological architecture. Women do not test men randomly. They test consistently, layering subtle challenges to observe patterns of behavior over time. Every interaction, no matter how mundane it seems, is an opportunity to demonstrate composure, confidence, and self-mastery, or to reveal insecurity, neediness, and susceptibility to manipulation. At this point, it becomes clear that passing these tests is not about tricks, lies, or manipulation. It is about mastery over yourself. The man who passes consistently is calm under pressure, unwavering in his boundaries, decisive in uncertainty, composed in emotional turbulence, and sovereign in his management of attention. Each test she presents is a measurement of these qualities. The more skilled you become at recognizing the signals, understanding the underlying purpose, and responding with controlled precision, the more you influence her perception, and ultimately, her desire. The sixth sign she is testing you is the measurement of your patience and restraint. Women often create situations designed to push your limits subtly. She may deliberately provoke irritation, make contradictory statements, or present dilemmas that tempt impulsive reactions. These are not accidents. Her mind is observing whether you will react out of emotion or respond with calculated composure. Patience is the ultimate proof of strength. A man who remains calm, who does not overreact, and who controls the pace of the interaction signals dominance in the most invisible but undeniable way. Each test of restraint she designs is an opportunity for you to demonstrate mastery over your impulses, something far more compelling than charm, wealth, or physical appearance. The seventh sign is gauging your social intelligence and influence. She pays attention to how you interact with others, how you command respect, and how your presence affects the environment around you. Subtle cues, how people respond to you, whether others defer to your judgment, or whether you maintain composure under scrutiny, are all under her subconscious microscope. Passing this test does not require arrogance or domination, but rather a quiet authority. Your behavior should communicate that you operate on a different level, that your energy is controlled and deliberate, and that your value is confirmed not by validation, but by your consistent, measured influence. The eighth sign is testing your reactions to scarcity and uncertainty. She may become elusive, provide limited information, or change plans unpredictably. This is designed to observe whether you panic, overcompensate, or become desperate. A man who passes this test treats scarcity as a tool, not a threat. He responds with calm curiosity, patience, and composure, demonstrating that his equilibrium does not depend on immediate gratification. By mastering responses to uncertainty, you reinforce the psychological principle that makes her desire grow. She cannot fully predict you, she cannot fully control your attention, and she unconsciously begins to chase what feels partially unattainable. The ninth and final sign is subtle challenges to your value and status. These may appear as mild provocations, comparisons, or insinuations that test your self-worth and confidence. She is not attempting to humiliate you. She is probing for authenticity. Will you crumble under subtle judgment, or will you maintain an unwavering sense of your own value? Passing this test is about self-possession. Your worth must be self-defined, independent of external validation. Respond with composure, wit, or silent acknowledgement. Any sign of insecurity signals weakness, while calm authority signals dominance and desirability. Recognizing these 9 signs is only part of the battle. The true mastery lies in the way you respond consistently across multiple encounters. Each interaction is not a single test, but part of a larger psychological matrix. She is mapping patterns of behavior, observing stability, and assessing whether your composure, patience, and authority are reliable. The man who passes repeatedly demonstrates a psychological structure that is magnetic, irresistible, and difficult to ignore. Passing every test requires a disciplined internal architecture. React impulsively, overcompensate, or seek validation, and you fail instantly. React with control, subtlety, and strategic engagement, and you pass effortlessly. Women do not consciously recognize every decision. They respond to cumulative impressions of strength, confidence, and self-mastery. Each test she administers is a reflection of her subconscious desire to measure whether you embody these qualities. By understanding the signs, anticipating the hidden motives, and maintaining your mental and emotional equilibrium, you gain influence that feels almost unconscious to her. A man who masters these tests transforms every interaction into a subtle game of psychological dominance. He is not manipulative in the crude sense. He is strategic, composed, and aware of the invisible levers of human behavior. Every delayed response, every measured engagement, every boundary upheld becomes part of a carefully orchestrated display of value. She becomes invested not only in what you offer, but in the challenge itself, in the unpredictability, in the tension between access and absence. Desire intensifies because it is earned, not granted freely. The most powerful insight is that tests are not adversarial. They are revealing. She is not your enemy. She is a mirror, showing whether your inner structure, confidence, and composure are as strong as you believe. When you pass, you reinforce your psychological authority, establishing a magnetic presence that draws her deeper into fascination. When you fail, even subtly, you reveal cracks that trigger doubt, insecurity, or disengagement. Mastery of these tests is mastery over perception, influence, and ultimately, desire. By internalizing these principles, a man becomes untouchable in subtle ways. Every interaction, no matter how mundane, becomes an opportunity to demonstrate composure, patience, intelligence, and authority. She begins to invest emotionally and mentally in ways that feel natural, inevitable, and even compulsive. The tests she presents are no longer obstacles. They are opportunities to deepen her attraction, reinforce your value, and establish a dynamic in which your presence is treasured, your attention is rare, and your influence is undeniable. In the end, passing her tests is not about winning small victories or impressing momentarily. It is about shaping the architecture of desire itself. You become the man who is calm under pressure, unshakable in his boundaries, confident in uncertainty, and compelling in ways that are invisible yet undeniable. This is the essence of dark psychological mastery. To create fascination and desire not through force, but through subtle influence, self-mastery, and the strategic navigation of her hidden evaluations. Remember, these tests are not obstacles, they are opportunities. Every sign she gives is a reflection of your value, confidence, and control. Pass with composure, patience, and strategic awareness, and you don't just attract her, you command her fascination. Master the art of subtle influence, and you become unforgettable.